Gaz, we get to unbox something finally. It's been like months months. Has
Yeah,
been months.
yeah, months plural. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. This is our first Trail of Ashes character. If you've been following our playthrough of our campaign, we defeated something and unlocked this. Now, this is not tied to a retirement, so it's kind of like in Frosthaven, how the character's just sitting there waiting to be selected, and someone has selected it without retiring their previous one. It's a long story. We'll go into that in the playthrough and on the pod. But
Yep.
either way, we're unboxing the Gemstone. I think it's called Gemstone.
Gemstone. Yeah, I think that sounds right.
Gemstone.
Yes, Gemstone. Yep, cool. Yeah, it's like we were playing one of those fighting games and we unlocked a character like during our playthrough. Now it says like, such and such character unlocked. And then you're like, oh, but I don't want to stop my campaign progress to quit and play that character. So I got to wait till I die, right? And then you kind of like half like 50-50, like, oh, it's a good run as well. I don't want to die. And then you die and you're like, oh, but I got that new character
You got
sitting
the
there
new
that I can try.
character.
Yeah. Yeah. So no,
And
I'm
the
pretty
character's
pumped.
being played by Phil as well. So
Will
we
be.
have to see everything we are seeing. Now, Phil's waiting for unboxing so that he can know what to do. He had all the opportunity to go and look himself, but he would rather hear what we have to say so that he can learn how to play it, which I don't think is the correct way of doing things, but sure.
I
In
think
case, obviously, we mess it up.
I think the secondhand quote from him through you to me was something along the lines of like, "Oh, well, I'll just wait till the unboxing, so you guys can tell me how to play it."
Yeah, so
I might be
we could,
paraphrasing, but yeah,
so we can work it out.
that's all right.
Um, any predictions other
I
than
other than
oh, like the things we saw?
I think it's gonna be a rogue style class. I think it's gonna be DPS
Really?
class with low to medium life. I think there's like multiple versions of HP there. 10 cards standard and a bunch of attacks. Maybe some weird defensive stuff, like just that kind of the ability to go front line and do a bunch of damage, go quick, but then also kind of maybe hold the line a little bit if you want to go that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Interesting, DPS. I was thinking more like I'm feeling it like the Astra a little bit from some of its. I think Ward's going to feature a lot with it because I'm wondering whether or not I'm trying to remember the rule books, whether or not TOA was the one that said, "Oh, Ward first introduced in Frosthaven, but now in TOA, and here's a character that's centered around it."
Yep.
That was the only thing I could think of.
Yeah.
Um,
Cool.
but
What elements? Like earth? Like grass?
See, it doesn't tell us. So these characters don't have a affinity on the back of their thing, the way the Frosthaven ones do. So I'd probably say light. Did it eat light in our scenario?
I
No, it
don't
probably
know.
didn't.
Light's a gemstone thing. I like the prism. Yeah,
It
light and
does. It
earth,
does sound
maybe.
gemstone. Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
light earth.
fire and earth. I don't know. Who cares? Who knows? Who knows?
Everyone's just like, shut up and do it.
Just do it. Do the thing.
Do the thing.
All right. So should we go to the character details first, right?
Character details. Yep. So I've set it to level 1 because prosperity we're still level 1, so it's gonna be a
Bad
flat.
luck, Phil. You can't jump the queue that way.
No queue jumping. And
All
then
right.
whenever you're ready, I'll click the button for
Yeah,
me.
let's go. Let's do it. All
Orchid
right.
child render. Okay,
Well,
so it's not a surprise.
no.
Okay.
So in the scenario, we noticed it was called shard render. So that's not, or I think we were calling it shard render, right? Like
Intentionally, yes. Shard render.
shard render. Yeah. So we'll have to make sure we refer to that Phil as that. Uh, not going to read all of the text.
No, read the second half.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Sequestered in the deepest reaches of the continent, a special group of orchids have tended fantastic crystal gardens of incredible power for years uncounted. Lifetimes of meditation taught them to resonate with these crystals, harnessing the energy in their very skin as both armor and armament. Armaments? What's that?
Amendment. I
Yeah,
don't
I know
know.
the word, I can't say it.
Still wolf.
However, this sensitivity has made them vulnerable to a mysterious corruption, driving them into the light for the first time in ages. Some search for a means to fight the corruption, others merely to escape it. Whether their reason, Whatever their reason, these shard renders use the imposing crystal carapace that earned them their names to devastating effect and make a welcome ally or deadly foe. Dun dun dun.
Deadly foe.
So is it now 3v1? We have to fight Phil.
Well, wait. Am I corrupted?
Are you corrupted?
Yeah,
No.
like washing machine. Is it like dark? Is it just dark and misunderstood? It's just edgy. What's going
Yeah,
on?
it's edgelord. Interesting. So it's funny how they mentioned the resonating, and I didn't even put the connection together from the shards character from
Ah,
Frosthaven. Like, not saying that, but out of all of the, it's going to be like this, it's going to be like that. We didn't even think of the one that's called shards. So,
that's true. That's very true.
all
Yeah.
right,
Okay.
why don't you tell us what the character does, Daddy?
Well, at the moment, level 1 has got 7 health, so that I think is the same as my Hollow Pact.
It's
I
more
think
than
that
me, so yeah.
yes, yeah, but I don't know what that means. It's not medium. It's like light medium. It's like medium rare.
How many
Cart
cards?
11, so it's got 11, which is the same as Flask. Is
Yeah.
it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Same
Okay.
class,
Gotcha.
Yep.
And then it seems to be working around Crystallize. So the Shard Render has unique persistent bonuses with use slots called Crystallize, which protect you from enemy attacks. Something that would be good. Whenever you would suffer damage from an attack while you have a Crystallize active, advance your character token on Crystallize 1 space for each point of damage suffered to reduce that amount of damage. Interesting. The Crystallize bonus is only applied after all other attack modifiers and effects are applied and must be used when possible. All right. So without an example, I have no idea what it looks like. You can only have 1 Crystallize active at once. Okay. If a second Crystallize enters your active area, move 1 of the cards to your discard pile. Your Crystallize actions also contain additional effects, which are separate abilities. These other abilities can be performed when the card is played and may provide powerful bonuses while the crystalline ability is active. Interesting. So the one only takes me back to, I think, Mind Thief? Wasn't that a thing where if you replace your augment with another one, it kind of goes away and you replace it that way?
Yeah, that rings a bell.
The only instance of it that I can think of where they're rotating one active,
Yep.
as opposed to some of the others. So many of your abilities depict the crystalline symbol move, crystallize moving, which allows you to add effects by moving a character token on a crystallize ability forward 1 space. To keep your crystallize bonus active, use abilities which move the character token back. Whoa, it's drifting backwards.
Wow, this seems
Interesting.
like a combination of Drifter, I think Mind Thief, like you said. It's giving me a little bit of Astral vibes with the you play a persistent. It's got a permanent ability, but it also does a thing. A little bit of Prism as well. Like it sounds like it's like a bit of everything.
Yeah. So the example on the bottom right says if you move the crystallize forward 1 space, you get pierce 2.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it
Okay.
sounds like careful. It sounds a little bit drifty
Yeah.
with the movement and its position on whichever track. But we'll probably need to
Have a
see a
look.
few cards to get an idea of what it means.
Yeah, which is interesting because Phil, I don't think enjoyed his time with the Drifter specifically because he didn't like juggling the little discs on his character. So maybe,
Okay.
hopefully, that was because it was too many discs and he just didn't find that fun, not because there was juggling at all. So,
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
all right,
Well, oh, that's right. We get milestones.
milestones. All right, well, the milestone for the shard render is move the character token off the last use slot of a crystallize 10 times. When a
Okay.
box is marked, enter the password diamond. Um,
Got you.
this will either be ridiculously easy like some of them or just really easy.
I still have no idea.
So, cool. All right, let's see the first card, Daddy.
First card is called Crystal Growth. Goes at a 68. Its top has a ward, self. So, ward. Whenever you perform a crystallize action, this is not one of them, you gain shield 1 for the round. It's a permanent persistent. 2 XP. The bottom of it, move the token on a crystallize ability back 2 spaces. This seems like a very good card already.
Okay. So
So
something I noticed from the read through of the crystallize ability is it was all about getting hit and taking damage, right?
he,
Potentially preventing it. So this
mm,
sounds like it's going to be a frontliner that wants to be hit.
yes. But it
Okay.
also, if you play this card, it sounds like because you're only getting the ward once, and then whenever you perform a crystallize action, which I assume means playing a card with crystallize as a thing, gain 1 shield for the round. So I guess moving forward, there's a potential that he could be gaining 2 shield per round if he plays a top and a bottom crystallize. The second one replacing the first one.
Yeah.
But we don't know how difficult they are to get off. Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah,
All right.
cool.
But instantly, that move to moving the token back is suddenly easier than anything the Drifter ever had to do, right? Like you didn't have your level 1
Completely.
card, just move it back, just back to the end.
I'm pretty sure there were mini hoops to
Yeah.
move things back.
All right. Second card, Impaling Spike. This goes at a 25, so it's better than 68, but not great.
The little Phil Schlong.
The Phil, sorry, it's an attack 3, in a bit of a line, so 2 hexes in front of you, like the spear kind of formation, and it has the crystallize PS1. So we're assuming that means if you move your crystallized token forward that turn, then
Mm-hmm.
this attack gains PS1 and you get an XP. Is that how we're understanding it?
I believe so.
Okay. So this sounds like then, if this is the case, right, and you get those crystallized tokens forward by getting hit, then you are kind of trying to play this a little bit reactively. Like get in there, get hit, and then you react by kind of doing this stuff.
Yeah. So can we backtrack 2 seconds
Yeah.
and go back to the character itself?
Love it.
So the crystallized protect you from energy attacks. Whenever you self damage from an attack, it has to be an attack. While you have crystallized active, you advance the token for each point of damage suffered. Got you. Okay. So that was the only thing I was trying to remember.
Okay.
Okay, so then back to that card. Yeah, okay, so he would just move the only one he would have over once to get PS1 on the attack 3.
Cool. All right.
Potentially on both. Yeah, okay.
And the bottom is a move 3, push 2, target 1 adjacent enemy, and again, the crystallized, if it's moved forward, wound, I assume, on the enemy that he pushes.
Yeah, I
Uh,
like this card. I like the top and the bottom actually.
yeah.
Top's a little bit tricky to get, but I feel like that formation is not too hard to get because you can kind of strafe around the sides to hit a lot of things that are there. So yeah,
Yeah.
and move 3 push 2 is already good.
Yeah, well, that's a good move with extra abilities if you want. The other advantage, and I've kind of seen this a little bit from playing the Galaxy, is that a formation like that, it's not so much about always getting both targets, but it allows you to avoid things like retaliate. You can just
Mm.
hit things 1 hex away and just not take retaliate damage, which is kind
Well,
of can be
this is the smoke spirit.
unless it's ranged retaliate. Yeah, right. But we're done with Trail of Ashes, so there
That's
shouldn't be any
true.
more smoke spirits, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, next card.
All right, we have Jubilant Recovery. Goes at a 44. Getting a bit crap. So, attack 3 with Muddle. Move the token on a crystallize ability back 1 space. Okay, so nice and reliable. A little condition in there as well. It's always handy. And then our bottom, it looks like our first crystallize ability. So you play this, you put your token on the first spot. Now you've got your crystallize ready. So this will absorb 2 damage worth of an attack. Just that's how the crystallized thing works, right? And then heal 2 self.
It's
Yeah,
a good
okay.
question. It's a good question. Now we can go back, right? Now we go back and read the rules again. So that's how you're saying it. So each of those things reduces damage by 1, yeah?
Yeah, you move it along. Each time you move it, I don't know if you have to. Do you
All
have
right.
to?
Whenever you would suffer damage from an attack while you have a crystallize active, so let's just use that one as the example, which has got 2 slots. Advance your character token on a crystallize 1 space for each point of damage suffered to reduce that amount of damage. Yeah, you're right. So you move it forward,
Yeah.
and it reduces it. The crystallized bonus is only applied after all other attack modifiers and effects have been applied and must be used when possible. Okay, so you have to do it.
Yep.
All right, but that's saying that it's only applied after all other attack modifers. So you just add everything up, and that's when you do it. You don't reduce it first, just to make sure that they're clear about the ordering of things.
Yes.
Interesting, and you can only have one of those active at a time. Um, cool.
Which is really manageable. I think already with those 3 cards and now the idea of the crystalline thing, I think it's very interesting. It's very cool.
Yeah. And I mean, so when he plays that crystallized, though, he gets the heal too, right?
Yep.
That's kind of, yeah. Interesting. Interesting. So it's
Mm.
definitely tanky. Like the entire thing is built around like getting hit, right? And not
Yeah.
taking much damage.
It seems like he's gonna wanna play a lot of crystallized cards, and then either use his abilities to move it forward or get hits to move it forward, basically. So that
Yeah.
it comes off, that's what he needs for his mastery, stick another one on for the immediate effect, and then all of a sudden you've got a little buffer of, health again,
It's
damage prevented.
It's interesting because it's kind of sounding like a little bit of a reactive tank. So someone who wants to get hit, and then once they get hit, that's going to power up the abilities that they use. So it's almost like a I don't know, taking the blow and sending it back through to the enemy because you can look and go like, I'll just go after them
Yeah.
and make sure that I can power up my attacks. So yeah, cool.
The fact that that mechanic is tied to 2 things, one of them is just bonus stuff on attacks and things you're doing versus the damage mitigation, all of a sudden you don't have choices when it comes to the damage mitigation, but you can see what's gonna happen. You can see so you can plan, "Do I want to save this to defend because I know I'm gonna get hit now, or do I wanna use this now?" And I think that that agency is very cool. It's no
Mm,
longer tank up, stand there. You can make a
yeah,
choice.
yeah. Uh, It is. It is cool. It is cool. It also gives us a when we have multi-target attacks and we get to choose the second target, right?
Phil.
Like if it's always Phil now.
It's
So
always Phil.
always Phil. All right. The next card, Luminous Glow. So this is another goes in 85. So garbage initiative. Although it seems like more and more they're probably going to want a bunch of late cards, right? Because you're going to want to make sure you can go late if need be. It has crystallize at the top action, which is 3 slots for this one. It says while this crystallize is active, each time you are attacked, consider any positive and ×2 modifier card the enemy draws to be a 0
That's
instead.
so
Oh
cool.
my god, are you for real?
That's really cool.
That's insane. And grab an XP while you're at it. There you go, Phil. Just play a card, get an XP. It's like the chain guard all over again.
Yeah, that's a really good card for even just like, do you go into a tank spec or do you go into I need these tokens so that I can buff my other shit? Like, that's so cool. And this having an extra slot than the previous card we saw as well. You
Mm.
want this out, you get the XP, it saves you from 3 hits, like potentially 3 big hits.
I
It's
mean,
it's awesome.
and what this because you tick the thing along per damage you take, right? So if you had this out and took 3 damage, it would drop off. If you
Hmm.
took 4 damage, it would drop off, and you'd only take one. I guess the thing is as well with this specific top is you you are taking whatever damage or less the creature is attacking for. So if they're doing an attack 4, you are taking a maximum of 1 damage if you got this card out, right?
Yeah.
-1 is a 3, -2 is low. So you can almost go like, I know I can control. I mean, this is only one of the cards, but you can control because you know the extra cards they draw is useless. So
Yeah. That's a really
um,
cool point.
it also makes when we look at the previous card with the attack, the muddle becomes amazing with this because if you're even reducing the damage by on an average of like say 1 from things being
Mm.
muddled, this starts to you just chew through those attacks. So
Just need some
anyway,
retaliate cards, maybe.
pardon.
Just need some retaliate cards, maybe.
That's it. That's it. There's got to be some. All right, and the bottom is a move 4. Oh, wow. Okay, sure. Why not? And if you've moved your token forward, bless one ally moved through with a move ability. Interesting.
Ah,
Okay, cool. I mean, move 4. That card sounds great. All around great.
I can see the move 4 being used a lot. The spinning crystalline to bless one of us. I don't know about that.
No, it's going to be like, oh, I could move 1 across and then 3 up, and I could bless someone. I'll just move 4.
Yeah, I'm calling it right now. That's never happening. Not once. The first time it happens, I'll do a song and dance. Unless he hears this and then intentionally does it.
Well, he's going to be our first listener, so
All
viewer.
right, let's get on to penetrating fragments. Goes at a 76, so a couple of lates. So we got a range attack. Attack 2, range 3, targeting 2, and we can move a token over to add pierce to that. So not bad, it's alright. It's not really, you can't really buff that damage either. There's no pip next to it, but you can increase the range. So interesting. And then the bottom of it is once during each of your attacks, you may move the token on a crystallize ability forward 1 space to add +1 attack and pierce 1 to that attack. Permanent persistent buff. During each of your attacks, you may move the token, forward 1 space to add +1 attack to that attack. Yeah. Interesting.
Pretty good.
Yeah. How would you use that?
This is the offensive card. This is the card you play, and then you are no longer Tanky Boy. You are using your crystallized, like, buffs, ticks, like circles, spaces, whatever you want to call them, as pure damage things.
So, for example, with Impaling Spike,
Mhm.
right? The top of that, with that one down, you spend 2 tokens, you're suddenly attacking 2 targets with attack 4 with pierce 2.
Yeah, because the per attack, add +1 at once during each of your attacks. That's 2 attacks, isn't it? Because an
Yep.
attack is like defined by flipping a card over.
Yep.
So yeah, if you had, for example, I don't know, let's say the bottom of Jubilant Recovery out, and you had 2 spots free, right? You also had this Persistent out. You could attack, and that becomes an attack 4 and an attack 4,
Mm,
and then your crystallized drops off because you've just spent it.
yep. Interesting. No, it's cool that there is then a damage option. You're
Mm,
not always stuck with using the crystalline for defensive action. So that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, interesting, cool. Um, all right, so then we have Prismatic Ward. So this is a 54, so pretty much almost the worst initiative you can get. Crystallize of the top action, so it's got two spots, whatever we're calling those, and it does a strengthen self when played. Okay, so that's a pretty standard one. It's not doing much, no extra bonuses. It's just here, have 2 ticks of damage mitigation, give yourself strengthen, which is pretty good, and gain XP. And then the bottom is move to ward self.
That's good.
Interesting. Your call of it being based around ward, and obviously we've seen 2 out of 4 cards or 5 cards that it is, right? Ward also interacts with this really,
Yeah.
yeah, because you halve the damage before you tick off all of your
Yep.
prismatics.
Yep.
Yeah, but ward becomes mega strong.
Gee, Phil, I don't want to pop you on a box already, but you could be a better tank than Mark on the chain helm right now.
Ooh,
I mean, don't do it just because I said that, but you know, good take, right?
good take.
The strengthen thing is interesting because it's on the top, meaning so far we haven't seen an attack on the bottom. To make that, normally you do see a pairing somewhere, so there
Good
should be
call.
something. But other than that, I mean, free 1 XP, why not? That's spammable. Everyone has spammable XP generation.
Except for me. So just a quick question on your understanding of the rules. If we go back, say, to penetrating fragments, just using that as the example,
Yep.
that symbol of the crystallize or whatever it's called and the arrow forward, that's saying move one of your tokens forward, right? So you are essentially losing 1 tick of damage mitigation to gain yourself that buff.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, all right. Okay, cool. I think I was misunderstanding that. So that's kind of linking it's basically giving like that bottom of penetrating fragments is just saying every card says move it forward, gain a damage.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yep.
All right. Yep. Cool. Yeah,
Um,
good to go.
and now we've got radiating crust. It's weird. I don't know. Is that I suppose it's a shard render thing, right?
You have to
They're
have
known for
weird
that.
names like,
Crunchy rock.
yeah.
All right, so it goes to the 17. That's Phil's fastest card so far.
Oh.
In fact, he's got a lot of not fast cards. Like a lot. So this one, because it's a shield and retaliate self, 1 and 1. Makes sense for it to go early, generate 1 XP. Phil hasn't had the greatest luck with, or him and me haven't had the greatest luck with the retaliate tanking, the same way the other two have in the past. So it'd be interesting to see if he picks this one up. Don't do it, Phil. And then the bottom of it is a move 3 with jump. If you move through 1 or more enemies with the move ability, move the token on a crystallized ability back 1 space. Yeah, okay, cool. Move with jump and then get a free token move backwards.
That's
I
a
like it.
good card.
Yeah,
Like,
I do like it. It's got a lot going for it.
yeah, reason I like it is because I think you're right. The top is situational. Do you want to be doing the tanky thing? Retaliate's always a gamble. It's only retaliate 1, blah, 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 right? But the bottom, a move 3 with jump with no conditions is good. Like, I've got to move 3 with jump, but I have to eat light to make it happen,
I've got to
right?
move 3 with not jump.
Exactly, right? So imagine if it had jump on it.
True.
And the ability there to be able to move one of your things back again, it kind of works really well if you using the crystallize effect for more offensive kind of capability. So
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I forget how tanky this thing already feels with the crystallized thing and the ward thing as well. That top with the shield one just already makes it even harder to kill, like crazy harder to kill. Considering all of those things will kick in before the crystalline damage reduction mechanic kicks in. So anything that buffs that's great.
yeah. Yeah, and I mean, if you are going down that tanky route, because I think now we've kind of seen 2 cards that unlock the different paths. So you've got the first card we saw, which was Crystal Growth, which was the whenever you perform crystallize action, you gain 1 shield. That's that
Mm,
permanent thing.
mm,
That one combined with really any of the kind of tanky options around these cards is going to just make you bonkers tanky, right? Like a
mm.
shield on top of the extra uh, kind of mitigation you're getting from the crystallize. And then when you throw in something like radiating cross, like if you can do a bottom crystallize effect, like the bottom one, jubilant recovery, heal yourself too, chuck down radiating cross, and you've got the other one as well. You've got shield too, plus like it's, yeah, I feel like that's the tank path.
Yeah, it'd be interesting whether or not like once Winets gives me the updated perk sheet. I haven't seen the perk sheet for this. Whether or not you can have 2 out at like the shackle dealio. Did they
Interesting.
they fix that? I don't know. But Phil doesn't like controlling more than 1 persistence, so it should be
No, he's
fine.
like, I don't want to juggle. This is I wasn't in it for this. So all right. Next one. Oh, okay. Well, I can't print. That's not even a word.
Remineralize.
It is too. It's all right. So it goes at an 82. So we're back in the bin for initiative or another late one. Attack 3, add +1 attack if you have a crystallize active. Okay.
Wow.
Attack 4 is pretty good just on a level 1 card. If the attack ability killed 1 or more enemies, move the token on a crystallize ability back 1 space and gain an XP.
Hmm.
Yeah, okay, cool, cool. And then the bottom is a loot 2. Oh, this is the first loot 2 we've seen.
Yeah, you're right.
It is a burn, so you've got to
Holy crap.
really, really want to. Move the
So,
token on a crystallize ability back 1 space for each hex looted. Okay. We've only seen one that has 3 tokens, right? So I feel like a loot 2 is excessive for wanting to like, oh, I better get 8 tokens here so that I can, move the thing back. But yeah, it's just interesting.
that is an interesting point. Yeah, maybe it's because of the lack of oh no, he's got some pretty decent movement. Yeah, I don't know. Just interesting choice to go with the 2.
Yeah. That's a hard card, right? Because the top is quite good. And attack 4 and the ability to kick your thing back is good. But like I feel like the bottom is very, very niche. And it's only 1 XP, so it's like you're getting 2 XP for it. So I don't know if you're like, oh, I just want to burn a card to get some loot, I guess.
Hmm.
But
Look, if the shoe fits, right, Phil? We got Ruinous Shard. Goes at a 41. Attack 3 with poison. So we've got a second application now. I think we had model and now this. And then we can move a token for PS2.
oh,
Pretty good, pretty good. All right, this bottom already has the symbol I'm excited for. It's got two symbols I'm excited for. So it's got a move 3, brittle and stun, targeting one adjacent enemy. And why not just poison them as well if we can spend a shard? No, that's not a shard. To do poison and 1 XP, and it's going to give 1 XP as well as a burn. Interesting. The brittle though, wow, we've got our boss enabler.
Well, that is funny because the bottom of that enables that battle goal that we can never succeed. Is it Ritualist or what's the one where you have to? No, that's the elements up.
Tormentor?
Yeah, that's like kill something that has like 2 or more status effects on it.
Something like that.
So it means he could move 3, brittle, stun, and poison it. So it's taking extra damage and brittled, right? Then just hit it for 3 or 4, and basically, just kill it and be like, "Hey, look, that's my battle goal done."
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I do like that top. It's like mind blowing, but it's a pretty good staple, like a staple level 1 staple attacking thing that's gonna be good. And then yeah, you've got the bottom for when you need it towards the end. So
The
I
other thing
like it.
this character's looking like it's got so much pierce is it's going to be good for our water elemental problems. So our water demon problems.
What a spirit.
Water spirits, that's it. Yeah, yeah. They're pesky shields. Because we
That was
really struggle with pierce.
That's true. That was the other thing I was thinking of because I remembered that the Shard Render from that scenario had a lot of ward and pierce. And then just shielded up. So yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Next one.
Serrated Razor.
Okay.
Okay, so it goes at a 33, which is a bit crap. It's an attack 2, pierce 1 with wound. And if you push your little
Ah,
shard thing forward, it's a range 3.
interesting.
That is cool. I love the idea of
Yeah.
a flexible, like it's a melee attack, but if you spend one of your resources, it becomes a ranged attack.
Yeah, okay. Because we haven't seen it in action, we don't know what that economy looks like. Like it's like the
Sure.
Tide Pod economy. So a part of me is just like, oh, I've got Tide Pod, oh, just spend Tide Pods, right? Until I don't have any, and then it's like, oh, this is awkward. So it's kind of like, yeah, I agree with you. Until it's like, how important is it to spend a token right now? Is that token worthy for the range
Mm.
3? The XP makes it token worthy, at least to me. But yeah,
So
don't
if that
know.
just said spend 1 token to gain an XP, you'd be like, totally worth it,
100%.
right?
100%.
Yeah, okay, interesting. Yeah, it's cool. I like the flexibility. You're right, though. The mileage may vary depending on how much he can get the crystallized cards out. Because, and I did notice this before, so far we've had 2 top crystallizers, right? And only 1 bottom crystallized. So
Yeah.
it becomes this weird, I'm losing a turn attacking to get this thing out. And then, yeah, it means the resources become really valuable.
Yeah, it does. You're right.
And then the bottom is a move 2, pull 1, range 3. Okay, pretty cool. Move the token on a crystallized ability back 1 space if the target is pulled adjacent to you. All right, bit of
Interesting.
Scorpion, get over here.
Yeah, that's very similar to Shroud of Grasp, except I pull 2 and don't do crystalline stuff. I get a Tide Pod if it ends up next to me. But that's interesting. We both have a very similar card.
It's interesting they've got a pull 1 on a range 3 with a if they end up next to you. I know it's possible just to move 2, pull 1, something that's only 2 hexes away and it ends up next to you. But it's interesting that again, it's got a little bit more flexibility.
Hmm.
So you can just pull at 1 space. So yeah, I like that this has got a couple of push and pull options because we do have a fair amount of traps and crap going around the map, which
That's
is
true.
handy.
Yeah, okay. Oh god. Now you do this one. Triboluminescence?
Yeah, good, good.
The hell's a tribo? Sounds like a
Turbo,
Marbo thing.
Turboluminescence. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Alright. So it goes to the 30. Push 2 and stun. Target all adjacent enemies. I'm sorry? Push 2 and stun, target all adjacent enemies. Move the token of the crystalline ability back 1 space for each enemy targeted. Interesting.
The burn.
2 XP. So it's not an attack, but it's basically a stun. It's very similar to the other AoE one he had, except this is a bit harder to get off. But potentially, yeah, I think that's fun. Ooh.
It's interesting.
It's It's hard because we've just if I had seen this card now and we had just started playing Crimson Scales, I would be like, "Holy crap, what the F," right? It's the fact that the character he literally just played did this, but everything within range 2 got stunned, right? And it's kinda like, "Oh, yeah, that's cool as well." It's just a bit harder to get off and not
Yeah.
as, "Can you just stun everything?" "Yeah, no worries."
And we've kind of seen him struggle a little bit with positioning with that stun, where we have a big group of enemies, and there's usually range 2 is good and for a stun everything, but sometimes there can be this weird situation where you're like, I'm gonna miss 2 or 3 regardless of where I stand, and so it only being melee or adjacent, I mean that just makes that even harder. So you probably, unless you really try, you're probably only getting 2 or 3 with this, right?
Unless he plays late, which he's got no problems doing. So
Mm,
he could probably use a bottom to move into the right position once everything's gathered up around Mark or whatever, and then get it off that way. That's the only way I can see it. I don't think he's going early on this character.
that's
Um,
true.
like I don't think he's gonna get early enough for that to get off the way he's planning, like a standard way of I need to go fast to get this off because I'm in the right position. I think that's definitely something he's gonna have to go late. His earliest is 17, and then
Well,
everything after that's like 20
I
something and
was
then
gonna ask the
30s.
question, out of all the cards we've seen, where do you think this rates this 30 on how fast? Because I just had a quick look.
Oh, is it
So
like
you
third?
Yeah, it's the 3rd. So, like, the 17 is his fastest. He's got a 25, which just
25,
looks
yeah.
long, and, now 30. So, yeah, it's a bit, yeah.
I want to see it. Anyway, the bottom is a move 3 model targeting one adjacent enemy and spin a token to disarm.
Oh,
That's real good, real nice as well.
very good.
Very, that's very spammable. Like incredibly spammable. Holy crap!
Yep, yep. And I mean,
Yeah,
that
that card just became must take.
I mean, with the fact that that's a bottom means that you can sacrifice playing one of your crystallized cards as a top that action, so that you've got one up that you can spend the token to disarm. So it's almost like you can always guarantee to get this off if you need to.
Totally.
Yeah. All right, next card. Oh, hey, we
X.
got a like
We got
lightning quick
X's.
one. Yeah, this is straight into number second slot. So Geode Barrage going at a 23. 23, that's lightning quick for this guy.
It's
All
lightning
right.
quick for me.
The top is a push one, target one adjacent enemy. If you move a token, then you get to push +2. So it becomes a push 3.
Uh
And
huh.
then you get to move one and attack 3.
Mmm.
Okay. So this kind of like I've got too many dudes on me, right? Let's get one just a hell away, and then I'm gonna whack the other one or something that's kind of
Yeah, I really like this card, especially with that pip right next to the move. You can make that a move 2, attack 3, just on top. Like a move and attack in the same thing is in the same row is quite rare, and that's yeah, I really like that.
yeah, it's a good point actually. I was evaluating that, yeah, but you're right. Move even if it's only move one, it
It's more because it's an early card and they're the cheapest to enhance as well. So it's an X card, level 1. So that should be a fairly cheap enhancement to get on there, and I think it'll pay dividends.
true. I guess it or the push one also helps if you want to get to something that's back a hex, right? Like if they're blocking it, you can push something kind of out of the way and then just move forward and hit the next thing in line. So that it
Mm,
gives you a little bit of control.
mm,
The bottom of Geo Barrage is a burn. It's a move 5 with jump.
uh-huh.
If you move one of your tokens, you get +2 to make that a move 7 and gain an XP. All enemies moved through with the move ability suffer 1 damage.
Interesting. Yeah,
All
okay.
right. So you just bouncing all over the place. Move 7 and deal 1 damage to everything and then just land and grab another XP.
Yeah, I want you can't backtrack, can you?
Nah, it's all enemies move through. So I think the enemy, once it's moved through, it counts as
Yeah.
being moved through. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. You can't just the same dude. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's
So
not bad. It'll be like 4 damage or something.
yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, cool. Well, I mean, again, I like a big move jump on a character is always handy. It's got pretty good initiative, and I think you're right. At the top of that, with a little move and attack is kind of could be very powerful.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
at least it's
I do like it.
usable.
Yes.
Hmm.
No, completely. Reciprocal resonance. Oh, here we go. It's resonance. All right, so we have another crystallize. Got 3 spots. While this crystallize is active, each time an enemy ends its movement adjacent to you, it suffers 1 damage. Right, that was is that the red guard? I think the red guard from Jaws of the Lion, which Phil also played in our digital thing, had something similar.
Okay.
So definitely the tanky thing, right? That's the I want to be in everyone's face kind of thing. The bottom of it, move the token on a crystallized ability back 1 space, shield 1, self 1 XP for the round. Yeah, so that's your tank option. So the Geode Barrage seems like can fit with most things. This one looks like we want to play defensively, which means whatever's next is probably going to be the offensive one, right?
Possibly. I mean, just that card, the bottom of that, combining it with the top of Radiating Cross, which was the shield 1 self retaliate, which goes at a 17. You go on pretty early and you give yourself 2 shield and retaliate 1. Like, pretty good.
It is pretty good. Yeah.
I mean, again,
It's
this is going down the path of being a tank. So you got to,
yeah.
if what you're trying to do is stand there and just take 0 damage for the round, like, and get peppered by things, like, that's a pretty effective way of doing it with 2 cards.
Not bad. It's really not bad.
All
Wait,
right.
wait. There's the top of oh yeah, and a really great way of getting 2 XP every time you need it.
Oh, do both those cards give XP? Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
Just why not?
So much XP. All right, and the last X card we have is Splinter Burst. So it goes at a 50, like in the middle. That's like that's the ultimate bin, right?
Yeah, I think it's
That's-
the first 50 I've seen, but
It's-
I may have seen one.
And the top is a burn, which is an attack 2. Target all enemies within 2 hexes. Pierce 2.
It's a lot of Pierce. Oh my god.
There's so
Holy
much
crap, it's a lot
Pierce.
of Pierce.
There's so much Pierce. I mean, an attack 2 on everything is pretty good within 2 hexes. It's enhanceable. It probably plays well with a power pot.
Yeah.
I mean, a power pot's basically stapled to Phil's head, so we can't get a hold of one.
Well, yes, Phil, if you want because he's got the major right now, the only major, we can't make more major power potions because we had an event that upgraded the existing one. So that's going, oh no, that's on the other character. He can't just, I'll
He'd have
take
to
that.
sell it, right? You have to
Yeah.
vendor all his stuff. So,
But you're right, that would be nuts.
yeah, okay. And then the bottom of that card is a move 3, move 1 of your crystal tokens forward to give yourself +1 move and jumps. That becomes a move 4 with jump. And when you land, 1 adjacent enemy suffers 1 damage. So, I mean, that's an interesting card. I feel like the top is you're usually going to find a way of using it by the end of the scenario, just to do an attack on a few different things. Attack 2 is interesting. I usually, and I remember this from playing the crab, the coral. I found that attack 2 was really bad unless you had Pierce because there was so much stuff. Like an attack 2 on some, probably the prism. I think it was actually more the prism. I was doing a lot of attack 2s, and I found that if anything had any shields, I was almost guaranteed to do no damage because you draw a -1. And that's an attack 1, and that's usually just gets munched up by something. So the fact that it's got the PS2 on it's almost guaranteeing it's getting some damage through unless you draw your -2 or something like that. So that's handy. And the bottom is okay. I mean, yeah, I don't know. There was a move 3 with jump that had no conditions on it, but it was earlier, so
That's true. Yeah. Like that's the one that's gonna be. I haven't put the pieces together in my head. Maybe there aren't many pieces at the moment for that being the right one. Obviously, with a power pot, it becomes an attack for everything within range 2, which is pretty nuts with the Pierce as well, provided they don't have retaliate because that's a dead fill. But the other one, I think it was the bottom of penetrating fragments. Like you don't have enough tokens to buff that by +1 for each one. This is where it gets interesting because we're about to cover perks, and I'm guaranteeing there's move back token perk cards, which then gets me wondering midway through the attack, move a thing back, move it forward for +1. And I'm assuming there's going to be at least 6 of these things in there with like rolling ones of moving tokens back so that you could squeeze out some of these permanent persistence, which it'd be interesting.
So do we look at the perks because it's here and it's fun, and then we need to also like do a mini recording of us looking at the updated version?
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that. We can just chuck it in as a side note.
Yeah, it sounds good. Let's have a look.
All right.
Uh,
So perks
yeah,
wise, we've got the standard remove one -2, replace a -1, replace a -1 with some shield.
rolling
Replace
shield's pretty good.
yeah, it is actually, yeah. And you get 2 of them. Replace 2 zeros with 2 plus zeros. Move 1 character token on your crystallized back 1 space. There it is.
Yeah,
So
there's
you get
4.
4 of them. Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Did you want to go through the rest?
Replacing zeros with +1, +2 if it has pierce, if the attack has pierce, which is pretty much every attack. So replacing it, and that's rolling as well. So that's potentially gross. Add 2 +1s, +2 if you move things. But this thing looks like it can do a lot of damage.
Mm.
In fact, yeah, especially with that. I'm just looking back at that burn, that attack to everything burn as a room clearer or room just do lots of damage to everything. If you pull out a lot of these, it'll be really gross. And a power pot. Add a brittle card. We like that. Ignore. So
Spicy.
2 perker. Ignore negative item effects. And at the start of each scenario, you may play a level 1 card from your hand to perform a crystallize action of the card.
I
That's
like that.
sick. I like that.
That's cool.
That he has to get that.
Yeah.
Once each scenario, when you would suffer damage from an attack, gain shield 3 for that attack. So yeah, it's kind of like the Banisphere thing, but better.
Better?
At each time you log rest, perform regenerate self. This thing's pretty cool.
Whoa! You gain regen when you long rest.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Interestingly, it's 17. Just want to have a quick look at old mate Chain Guard for comparison. 26,
Health.
yeah. So yeah, health wise. So
Mm.
this thing's health is the same as mine, right? Which is a little on the squish side, but obviously it's a lightweight tank if it wants to go down that path. It can still mitigate damage quite nicely. Which this is the part I'm finding quite interesting.
The other part is though it only had 1 card with heal on it. So it doesn't have
Ooh.
much self-sustain, right? Other than the regen that we just saw then. So that's like your long rest regen piece. So it is like similar to you. Like you have the potential of doing a good chunk of healing on yourself. Like you've
Mm.
got a couple of cards, but this doesn't seem to have that capability. It's going to be very if it gets low, it's going to be very reliant on items or other characters. Lucky we have like a dedicated healer running around like a me. And I don't mind because he's going to be in the front line. So I'm going to be like, yep, no worries. You can have some healing. If you stand here, you get healed.
You like front
Um,
lines.
the other thing as well, I always look at for this on the characters to see if they're a short rest, long rest character, and having this each time you long rest perform regen, but also having the ignore item effects is a really good combo because it means you can take a lot of those tappable items, and if you focus on long resting, you get so much value out of it.
Yeah.
So that's another interesting one that kind of can potentially shape the way you play.
Yeah. No, good call. No, I'm very excited.
Mm.
Very excited to see kind of what will happen with this and how it synergizes with our group. So yeah.
One last final thought on this as well is I think what I like about what I've seen so far is it also seems pretty flexible about going between the offense and the defense. Other than a couple of cards, like, you know, the specific, like, persistent cards, you're really not sacrificing that much if you wanted to play defensive early until you get into a good position and then start. I won't use the word burn because that has a mechanic attached to it. Start pushing through all your resources and your cards and ticking off your crystallize to get more offense out.
Mm.
So putting these things up, like, you know, starting that one that lets you start with one, or even the bottom of you know, some of those crystallize effects, It's kind of like it's there and you can use it defensively so you don't get too far behind. But then if you find yourself in an advantageous spot, you can go, well, you know what? I can push some extra damage out, or I can get some extra pierce or jump or whatever those extra things are. So I kind of like that ability. It's very flexible. It's not I'm choosing to go tank and therefore now I can only tank and now I want to do damage and I can't because I didn't take the cards. Because they a lot of those crystallized cards seem to be pretty flexible to play with the offensive cards.
It's a really good call. Otherwise it'd be very one dimensional, and like you said, you go through a scenario at the very beginning, you want to get tempo on your side. So if this guy is going in, and even if they're a full DPS spec, if they are playing some more of the defensive cards, that means that the enemies are going into him. He withstands it all. Everyone else does damage to everything, and then we're ahead. And then it's like, okay, cool. Thank you for that round. Now you can also start snowballing as well.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it looks like an interesting combo. How do you think Phil's going to find it?
I think that he will be similar to, like, I think when he looks at a lot of the symbols and a lot of the circles, I think he may get a little overwhelmed. I legitimately, and I'm not saying this just because we're doing this, I think he'll find this video helpful. I actually think he'll find this video helpful just because we're talking out loud, we're sharing the ideas and all of that. I think we've got a grasp of how the rules work for this character. So yeah, I think he can take over, and yeah, I think you'll like it. I think you'll like it more than the flask.
I think he'll like it because it looks like he had to flip a bunch of AMDs. And we know that his
Yeah,
racial ability is to have lots of green and purple cards come up.
yeah.
And one of his weaknesses is getting himself into bad positions and getting hit for lots of damage. And this character just has cards that just say, just reduce the amount of damage you take.
Yeah,
Fine, don't worry about it.
that's a good point. Yeah,
So I
it
feel
should
like
feel
if you were
nice and
going to
natural.
customize a character to kind of play to his strengths and also protect his weaknesses, I reckon we've got it here in a nutshell.
Oh, awesome. Well, we will find out on Monday when we play, and we get to see, well, the second time of Charge Render and see whether or not, yeah, Phil can do what they did last time.
That's it.
All right, thank you for joining us again for our first unboxing and what feels like ages. Well, apparently we've got a couple more in the pipe in the next couple of weeks, right?
We do.
Uh,
We do.
yeah, nice. All right, well, see you later, and we'll catch you on the next one.